Juanita Chisholm was born on November 30th, 1924, in Brooklyn, New York, to immigrant parents from the Caribbean region. Her father was an unskilled laborer who sometimes worked for a company that made burlap bags, while her mother was a skilled seamstress and a domestic worker who had trouble working and raising children at the same time. In November 1929, as Chisholm just turned 5, she and her two sisters were sent to Barbados to live with her grandmother because their parents were unable to take care of them and work. There she attended a one-room schoolhouse that took education seriously. She returned to the United States in 1934 when she was 10 years old.
Education had a significant impact on her life. In the beginning of 1939, Chisholm attended a girls' high school in Brooklyn, a highly regarded integrated school that attracted girls from throughout Brooklyn. She earned her Bachelor of Arts from Brooklyn College in 1946, where she won prizes for her debating skills, which would later benefit her in her political career. She continued her education at Columbia University and earned an MA in Early Childhood Education in 1952. While she was still a student at Columbia, she began teaching at a nursing school. After working at the nursing school, Chisholm worked her way through the teaching ranks, and by 1953, she was the director of 2 daycare centers, a position she held until 1959. Running a daycare center, she became interested in politics, and during this time, she formed the basis of her political career while working as a volunteer for white-dominated political clubs in Brooklyn, and with the Political League and the League of Women Voters. In 1968, Shirley made history by becoming the United States' first African-American congresswoman, beginning of the first of 7 terms in the House of Representatives. After initially being assigned to the House Forestry Committee, she shocked many by demanding reassignment. She was placed on the Veterans Affairs Committee, eventually graduating to the Education and Labor Committee. Chisholm became one of the founding members of the Congressional Black Caucus in 1969 and championed minority education and employment opportunities throughout her tenure in Congress.
Throughout her political career, Chisholm was a good leader with a strong moral sense and courage to stand up for her beliefs. And in 1972, Chisholm made history again by formally announcing her intention to seek Democratic presidential nomination, making her first African American to run for a major party and the first woman to vie for the Democratic nomination. During her speech, which she delivered in her hometown of Brooklyn, Shirley said,
"I am not the candidate of Black America, although I am black and proud. I am not the candidate of the women's movement of this country, although I am a woman and am equally proud of that. I am the candidate of the people of America."
Although she did not win, she won the primaries in 3 states. As she was the first black woman to run for president, she felt a lot of discrimination because of her race and also because she was a woman. Shirley was known as the woman who fought for a change in the 20th century. She fought for many things and achieved some. She was a feminist who fought for racial and gender equality. She opposed weapons development and the war in Vietnam and favored full employment proposals. She fought for education opportunities, and she was an activist for people of color, including Native Americans and Spanish-speaking immigrants. She often spoke about cultural and social issues. She founded the National Women's Political Caucus, supported the Equal Rights Amendment, and legalized abortions throughout her congressional career, which lasted from 1969 to 1983.
After leaving Congress in 1983, she taught politics and women's study at Mount Holyoke College and was popular on the lecture circuit. She authored 2 books during her lifetime, Unbought and Unbossed and The Good Fight. She moved to Florida in 1991, and 2 years later she was nominated to serve as U.S. Ambassador to Jamaica, but declined the position because of her poor health. She was inducted into a National Women's Hall of Fame in 1993 and the famous scholar and philosopher Molefi Kete Asante listed her as one of the 100 greatest African Americans. Shirley Chisholm died on January 1st, 2005, at the age of 80 in Ormond Beach, Florida. Nearly 11 years later, in November 2015, she was awarded the Distinguished Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Shirley survived 3 assassination attempts during her trailblazing campaign. There is talk of a movie being made about her life. When African American students were barred from joining a social club at her college, she started her own club called IPOTHEA, an acronym for In Pursuit of the Highest in All. In 2014, the U.S. Postal Service debuted the Shirley Chisholm Forever stamp as part of the Black Heritage Series. All of the staff she hired for her office were women. Half were black women.
Shirley Chisholm was the first African American woman elected to Congress in the late 60s.
She made real progress in this country, not because she wanted to be a politician, because she wanted to make change.
Shirley Chisholm is the woman who ran for president, whose outreach, both in communities of color and to women, was remarkable.
Well, Shirley Chisholm was a person you'd love almost immediately. She always smiled. She was a bundle of energy.
I felt that the time had come when a black person or a female person could and should be president of these United States of America, not only white males. And I decided somebody had to get it started. I want to be remembered as a catalyst for change in America.
Thank you, my sister, Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm. You were a blessing, and you continue to be a blessing to all of us.
Why should I step back? I think it's precisely the kind of thinking that has gone on in this country, because a white male has always been the person who has entered into the White House. The fact that a black and a woman who also has a certain kind of following among some of the groups that these gentlemen address themselves to also, I don't see why it is that I should step back. We've never had a black person or woman to seriously run.